We wanted to bring in the man who makes sense of a complicated world better than just about anyone I know, Tom Friedman of the New York Times, who is also the author of Hot, Flat, and Crowded, Why We Need a Green Revolution and How It Can Renew America. Tom, thanks for coming in today. And let's pick up where Bianna and Robin just left off. There's a headline in USA Today this morning. Greek debt crisis offers a preview of what awaits U.S. I think people do have a hard time wrapping their heads around the idea that that small country pretty far away could really make a difference here.
Well, George, Greece is the General Motors of countries. Basically, just like GM got in trouble all these years by giving overly generous contracts to its unions, and then finally paying the price because it couldn't sell enough cars to justify them, the Greeks really did the same with their workers. If you were a Greek worker, you could, as a woman, retire as early as age 50 if you were in hazardous work. A hazardous work included being a hairdresser who handled a lot of chemicals, or 55 as a man. And ultimately, they just couldn't pay for it. The tooth fairy went away, and now you're seeing the Greek public basically coming to terms with that, and it's a very ugly scene. And
we're not there yet, but we're facing trends with our debts and deficits that could put us in a similar situation in a few years.
It's interesting, George. You'll appreciate this as a former political hand. I was having a meeting early this morning with one of the editors of The Economist, and he said, this British election, I'm here in London, is really unique. He's never seen something like this before, where all the major parties running are actually running on pain. They're actually telling voters this time around, we're going to hit you. We are going to take something away from you. Now, they've been criticized for lying about how deep the pain is going to be. But this is a very interesting Western election. All the major parties are running on pain.
And that could be our future. I want to turn to the oil spill as well. You had a fascinating column yesterday where you said the oil spill is to the environment what the subprime mortgage mess was to the markets, both a wake-up call and an opportunity. You said it could become President Obama's most important leadership test?
Yeah, I really think this is an opportunity for the president's really got to decide, how does he want to deal with this spill? Does he really want to just end the oil spill? Of course he wants to do that. Or does he actually want to give birth to a new energy system that will end our addiction to oil? And I, for one, am hoping and urging that he'll do the latter, that he'll actually use this as a way of pushing a bill through the Senate that will begin to finally end our addiction to oil. So over time, we're not going to find ourselves dependent on these kind of dangerous technologies that inevitably lead to these kind of accidents.
And to pick up on your previous point, that could involve some pain, higher oil and gas prices.
Well, ultimately, it's going to require a price on carbon that will stimulate innovation in clean power technologies. Now, really, if you look out at the American business community today, American business leaders understand that really every country in the world, Europe, Japan, China, are putting in place basically these kind of carbon rules and taxes that give a very clear signal to business where to invest. We're the only major country in the world not doing that, and I think it's a real disadvantage. I mean, China's getting ready to clean our clock. How do you say clean your clock in Mandarin in the next great global industry, which is going to be clean technology?
Final question. Here in Times Square, that attempted bombing Saturday night really did hit home, and it's raising this new question. We're now seeing more and more of these people acting alone or with a very small group of people, no longer going for mass destruction, but mayhem instead. Is there any way to stop this?
George, it's really hard. You look at this guy's bio. I mean, gosh, he came to America. He went to school in America. He became an American citizen. He really symbolized, I think, the new challenge of our age. And basically, during the Cold War, we were fighting another superpower who had guns, tanks, planes, and missiles just like ours, and we could deter them. We're now in an age in this world of globalization where our enemies, George, are now super empowered, angry people. I mean, that's right. We've gone from fighting superpowers to super empowered, angry individuals. And that is a very different struggle. It's a very different conflict. And I don't think we've fully gotten our minds around yet. How does a superpower fight super empowered individuals?
Good question. It's a difficult one to answer. Tom Friedman, thanks very much.